What's up, YouTubers? This is Ernie, Blerd Without Fear. We're going to be picking up with where we left off on Secret Empire. We're going to be picking up with issue number 3. Before we dig in, I post new videos every week. Make sure to click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and also tap that bell button so you make sure you don't miss anything. We pretty much pick up where we left off with this mysterious Chuck Norris looking Steve Rogers back in action. You know, he saved the damsel who's super uber duper grateful that, you know, he came along when he did. And it, yeah, it's one of those things like you see this like, man, dude, this is like historical Cap, and we even see like some flashbacks to, you know, his past, his training, give you an idea that, you know, this guy, he remembers being the little scrawny kid trying to get into the military. You know, he's the guy who's, you know, always wanted to do right. They do some pretty cool stuff with his character art, because across the next like 2 or 3 issues, you know, we see him, you know, carrying the girl off that he saved, you know, because she was bitten by one of the villains that attacked, and you know, got poisoned, and she ends up dying. And, you know, Steve kind of lays her down in this little lake pond area and kind of just lets her pass on naturally. And, you know, he starts getting like these flashbacks to, you know, his parents. And, you know, just you see that you see that resolve in him, how, you know, he's trying to, you know, he's trying to stay doing the right thing. But it doesn't take long for this particular Captain America to, or this version of Captain America, we don't really know at this point, you know, what he is exactly, other than like some ideal personification of Captain America. But yeah, he ends up getting attacked by some random ass villains. Looks like Batroc the Leaper, maybe Whirlwind. I'm not really familiar with a lot of these D-list Avengers villains. But yeah, he's getting attacked by these guys, and out of nowhere comes Bucky Barnes and Sam Wilson, you know, the 2 former Captain Americas, you know, in instances where Captain America was no longer around. You know, these guys come along and they help him, you know, put the hurt on these guys. And they're like, hey, dude, what's going on? You know, we're out here wandering around, and, you know, we got lost, and, you know, we just, you know, saw each other, and, you know, we were like, hey, you know, we see you out here alone, and we're here to help you out. And it's like, dude, I got bros again. And it's like, dude, man, this is nice. It is really nice to see, you know, Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes in the same room, on the same panels, working together as a team. It's a really nice touch. But you don't want to get too attached to this, because it doesn't last long. As they're walking along, you know, and Bucky Barnes is kind of taking the lead, Sam Wilson looks up, and leave it to the brother to look up and notice some weird shit going on. He sees all these trip wires and all this other stuff, and Steve Rogers sees it, but it's all too late. He doesn't realize what's going on. And this kind of plays on the fact that Steve is constantly losing the people that he cares about. It's one of those themes for Captain America, you know, trying to do all the right things, trying to, you know, do right by everybody, but not always being able to save people at the right time. Out of nowhere, Sam Wilson gets snatched up, Bucky Barnes gets hit with like an arrow or dart to the neck. Red Skull rolls up, pulling his best Negan impersonation. It's like suddenly this has turned into Walking Dead, and Red Skull has this 2x4 with, you know, spikes coming out of it, and he bashes Cap upside the head with it. He's like, welcome back, bitches. Now, the thing that you got to take away from this is that Red Skull isn't necessarily here to kill him, or at least that's not what it seems like at first. The idea that we're getting is that he is there to get him out of, you know, never past bedtime land type place that he's in. I don't know what the hell it is. It's some weird place, yeah, at least up to this point. They're never really telling exactly what it is. He's just in these random woods. We don't know if he's like lost out in the wilds of America. I mean, really up to this point, you can kind of figure out that this, you know, what the case is, because clearly neither Sam Wilson or Bucky Barnes are actually there. It's got to be somewhere, some kind of imagination land or something. But yeah, that is pretty much where his story ends for the next few issues. And we have some bigger fish to fry elsewhere, apparently. Back on the space front, Alpha Flight is still struggling hardcore. I mean, they've been trying to gain allies, you know, beyond, you know, Earth's atmosphere. it has not panned out well for him. Peter Quill and Groot and Rocket Raccoon, they've gone off to the far-flung reaches of the galaxies and have been trying to get people to come and aid them in the fight to get back into Earth. And it's kind of funny because not too terribly long ago, at least as far as like comic book continuity goes, everybody was having to band together. Like back during the Infinity arc, everybody was having to band together. Even going back to like Annihilation, people were, having to band together. You had strange bedfellows coming together to try and stop the common foe. And Earth was always there to kind of, at least, I know in Infinity at least, they were there to help and get the job done. Man, dude, they are sitting here, they're begging. And you, whether you're familiar with these characters or not, we see the Skrull, like there's a representative for the Skrulls, there's a representative for the Kree, there's a representative for the Shi'ar Empire, there is a representative for the Brood, and there's even, and it's kind of hard to see in the very background, but I'm almost positive that the one that's really shadowed in the back, I want to say that is probably one of the Spartoi, which is the race that, at least in the comic continuity, Star-Lord is, that's part of his heritage. Like, I know in the movies, most people just know the movies where it's, Star-Lord is half celestial because his dad is Ego the Living Planet. That's not really the case in the comics. In the comics, he's half Spartoi, and his father is also a son of a bitch, not unlike Ego the Living Planet, but it's just not the same type of parentage. But anyways, these guys, they don't want anything to do with any of this. They're like, death to Earth. I love how there's one part where one of the guys is like, Hail, what was it again? And the Skrull's like, Hydra. And it's like, dude, really? It's like, that's how much they hate the Earth. And I mean, to be fair, they've all lost something or suffered hardships because of Earth in the past. But you would have thought since Infinity, maybe some of that would have slid. But I know there's a lot of stuff that's always happening in the cosmic spectrum, so sometimes that doesn't pan out. But everything is just really looking like shit for Alpha Flight as a whole. I mean, it is just not okay. They've been getting waylaid by Chitauri, wave after wave after wave after wave. Okay, so in the last issue, I made a mention of how the Underground, Tony Stark and Hawkeye and everybody else, they have a black market contact who they were going to go after and try and set up a traveling scenario where they can move in and out of the country and around the country to help them go after the cosmic cube shards. Black Widow is doing the exact same thing, but for a different purpose. Because, once again, she's not looking for the cosmic cube shards. She knows that the only way that she's going to end this is by killing Captain America. Hydra Cap, specifically. Because right now, that really, in their eyes, is the only Captain America. The readers know a little bit more about what's going on. She ends up reaching out to a guy, like a low-level criminal, Boomerang, who is living like a fat cat right now. He's just chilling. He's, kind of made himself into this, I guess like this kind of kingpin type character, but on a much lower level. Because Boomerang is kind of a joke character in most aspects, especially recently. What Black Widow wants, though, is to get in contact with Maria Hill, because she wants to get some information, and Boomerang sets it up. He gets her that meeting. And Maria Hill makes it very clear. She's like, hey, look, when you go do this, go ahead and take him out. Take a picture, because I want to see it. Picture it didn't happen. And, Black Widow tries to act all indignant about it, but, Maria Hill quickly reminds her, hey, you can't take the moral high ground with me. You are using children to fight your war for you. Nat gets everybody on board, and she goes after Hydra. She even allows herself to be captured, and they end up bringing Viper in because they're like, hey, you gotta see this. We finally caught Black Widow. She's actually been playing spy this whole time because, that's what Black Widow does. And she actually cuts a deal with Viper because she's like, hey, you all know we're gonna take this guy out. So if we do this, if we actually take care of him, I don't care about what it is you're doing here and your little side action, doing these little backdoor deals, without Steve Rogers' knowledge. She's like, hey, I don't care about that because I'm here to kill his ass. And honestly, when it all goes down, all it does is work out for you. When it's all said and done, we take out Steve Rogers. Who's gonna run Hydra? So, are you in? And Viper immediately was like, yes, count me in. But what she's ultimately doing is buying time, because she's waiting for her team to get in and get to a particular person that's been held captive, under Hydra's regime. And when they open the door, they're like, dude, why would we need this old, decrepit, dying old man? It's like, dude, why would we need him? Like, you have to be mistaken. And Nat's like, no. You don't understand. We have exactly who we need. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I don't want to give it up because it's going to be very important. But just know, we will be discussing this in one of the next videos. Now, this wouldn't be a video about Secret Empire if we didn't talk about what's going on between Captain America and his regime and the Underground, because we haven't talked about them very much. I wanted to save them for last. Captain America has been failing on all fronts, or rather, his troops have been failing on all fronts. He's been trying to collect the shards of the Cosmic Cube since day one, and he has not been getting anywhere. They've been going toe-to-toe with Atlantis. It has not been working out. Even when they actually win the fights, they still don't get what they want, because Namor is a son of a bitch, and he's never going to let go of anything as powerful as a Cosmic Cube shard, without a little bit of something going his way too. Meanwhile, the Underground hasn't been faring much better. I mean, they do actually convince Falcon to go ahead and, take them on this fantastic voyage, to help them, collect the rest of the Cosmic Cube shards. But where they wind up going is a little bit freaky. We end up catching our heroes traveling through what they call the Ultronic territories. It's pretty much area that Hydra Cap leaves alone because, it's Ultron's. And Ultron, everybody kind of forgets about him. Ultron has been kind of out of commission. I don't want to say out of commission. It makes it sound like he's dead or something. But he's been kind of lying in wait for a while, because a ways back, Hank Pym and Ultron fused together. And when Ultron returned, everyone assumed that it was Ultron, but he gave the appearance, because he still has Hank Pym's face, that, he's actually Hank Pym. And he played the long con for a minute, trying to get everybody to, give up the idea that he's still Ultron, that Ultron is still in control. But ultimately, yes, Ultron was still in control, because he's a damn liar, and that's what Ultron does. But Ultron is back, but he's been lying in wait. He hasn't been striking out and lashing out as one would expect him to. Not only does the Underground know Ultron has hands on a Cosmic Cube shard, Hydra knows about it as well, and they're going after it at the exact same time. So the Underground has their team going in, and Hydra Cap has his Avengers squad going in. He's brought all his heavy hitters. He did not leave any of his heavy hitters at home. But Ultron is actually really excited about the fact that the Avengers, not saying the Avengers is, saying any one team is actually the Avengers, not Hydra Cap or the Underground, but just the Avengers as a whole, the entire body of these people, which are all Avengers. They need his help, and he's like, man, dude, no, I'm gonna save him. This is my opportunity for Hank Pym to finally, prove himself. And when they get there, I mean, it turns into a fight, as you would expect it to. Quicksilver's trying to get his sister Scarlet Witch back from being under the thrall of Chthon, and Unworthy Thor and Hercules, they're going down. They actually have a moment that's very reminiscent of Star Wars The Force Awakens, because when Hercules sees Unworthy Thor, he's like, traitor! It's like, dude, it's just a trip. And I mean, it's awesome, because you get to see some really good action in these panels, and this is, to me, where Secret Empire really shines. But I love the moment where Tony Stark and Captain America, they see each other. It's just like, Tony, Steve. This is one of those moments I would love to see in a movie. I think they could actually make a way better movie out of Secret Empire than it ever would have been as a comic. It's all for naught, because the fighting comes to a quick end as Ultron steps in. And Ultron, he takes everyone captive, sits them down at the dinner table. He's even got on an apron that says "Kiss the Overlord." It is so bad. But one of the things I do love is the fact that, you know, while these guys are arguing, Ultron actually makes for a good judicator, you know, in this situation, because he reminds them very quickly, neither one of you actually has any business pointing the finger at the other, which I actually love this moment. This is actually one of the few really solid moments in this, you know, 3 issues that we're going over. And one of the things that he points out to everybody, because he's like, hey, you're so worried about what Ultron's doing. You guys are so freaked out about what it is that's going on up here, you know, in my own little territory. There's a reason why none of the Ultron bots have come after you. No one has tried to take over. Ultron himself has not arisen and come forward and tried to take you all out, because he's like, hey, he won't have to. You guys are doing his work for him. He didn't need to do anything. All he needs to do is just sit back and wait for you guys to screw up, which you're already doing. You're practically handing him this world in a gift wrap. And this always happens when anytime Hank Pym is involved in anything, where he's like, hey, what about me? What about me? And this is also, we get some truth telling from Tony, where he's like, you know, tell him, hey, it wasn't the fact that you created Ultron. It wasn't the fact that, you know, you did dirt behind our backs. He said the thing that actually killed the Avengers and broke up our family and stopped us from having moments just like these, where we're all together hanging out, is that because it got awkward, because when everyone found out what he was doing to Wasp. Because, yeah, and that's one of those things, like, because let's remember, he used to kick Wasp ass. I mean, and maybe not as bad in the 616 universe as in, like, the Ultimate universe, but I mean, nonetheless, he was kicking her ass. It was bad. Like, that's one of those moments I was like, man, dude, Hank Pym is a son of a bitch. This actually brings a lot of these talks to a close until Scott Lang steps forward and says, hey, you gave me a chance. You took a guy like me and you took a chance on me, letting me step into your shoes and make something of myself. Give us a chance to make something good happen. Give us that same opportunity that you gave me a long time ago. Ultron ultimately gives the Cosmic Cube fragment to the Underground, specifically to Scott. Ultron's just being so cheesy and so campy and just being so happy, and it's really awesome to see. I mean, I think it's actually really nice. I like what they've actually been doing with Ultron lately, at least as far as, you know, the Secret Empire stuff goes. The thing that's actually really telling here is that Captain America's like, look, we had a deal. You were supposed to give us the Cosmic Cube fragment. Ultron's like, dude, no, we still got a deal. I mean, we're still good. I didn't do this because of any petty slights. I didn't do this because I felt I needed to, you know, put you in your place. He said, I did this because, honestly, you're winning the war. You're winning this war, and I need to balance it out. He's like, I want to keep things interesting and just keep you on your toes, because I like seeing it. The thing is that it's all for naught, because it ends up backfiring on them anyway, because the next thing you know, we see Namor coming up to the surface and literally handing over a Cosmic Cube shard to Captain America in front of everyone. And really, this kind of is the start of a long road for the Underground. I mean, everything is pretty much just going downhill for them, because now they're back on the ropes yet again. Even after kind of getting a one-up on Captain America, Tony even reaches out to Black Panther, and Black Panther is like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving you our Cosmic Cube fragment, but you are more than welcome to give yours over to me. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. It's like, dude, seriously? Like, I actually kind of expected T'Challa to be, you know, a little more on board, but nah, man, he is not going for it. And the thing is, the Underground is beaten. They're bloodied. They are demoralized. And especially when they discover that Tony didn't really have a way of tracking the Cosmic Cube fragments. He's been leading them on like a wild goose chase. Everyone is pissed. I'm talking everyone is pissed at him. And this is where we find out that Mockingbird is our mole. Mockingbird gives the word on the fact that, you know, this is the time to strike. We see those same Hydra carriers that, you know, were attacking Vegas back at the end of the first issue, I believe it was. And it is just over for the underground. I mean, they are waylaying the underground's base. I mean, I'm talking about they're putting the screws to it and just blasting them. And the thing is, it's not even entirely over yet, because there is a moment where Captain America like says, let's get our secret weapon. When that vault door opens up and you see off to the other end of the table, you see off in the distance there's somebody sitting at a table just in this huge room, and you realize that it's Bruce Banner. Somehow, some way, Captain America has resurrected Bruce Banner, who, I'm just going to tell you right now in case you are not familiar, he was killed. Bruce Banner was killed during the events of Civil War II by Hawkeye because they made a pact. Bruce Banner's like, here is a special arrow that you can shoot that if I get out of line again, you can put me down. And I mean, it's just nuts. It is freaking insane. So yeah, oh my God, yeah. That's a heck of a way to end it right there. So everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think so far about Secret Empire up to this point. We've gone through issues 3, 4, and 5. If you like this video, make sure you click that like button. Also, if you haven't done so already and you want to see more awesome videos like this one, click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell button so you'd make sure you don't miss anything. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Plus Ultra.